Hello, students. Today I want to talk about the net of a cylinder, because when you do your campground project, you're going to have to make a trash can for your campground. And the trash can is going to be in the shape of a cylinder with certain dimensions. So for today, I'm just using a 3-inch height and a 1-inch radius. I want to talk about how we would make a net of this so that we could cut it out and create it and make it 3D. So what I like to start with is I would start with the top circle. You know how to make a circle with a radius of 1 inch because of what we did with the compass tool. So let me pan out here a little bit so that my pencil does not hit the camera. And I am going to just make a little center mark here. Actually use pen here. This will be my center. Let me just make sure that will give me enough room for 1 inch. Yes, it will. Okay, so there's my center. And then I'm gonna set my bullseye. Oh, and remember, I have my slider set at 1 inch, remember? 1 inch is the smallest in inches you can do for a radius. So I'm gonna be using this hole, and I'm gonna put the target right on the center, hold it down tight, and spin her around. And then I'm gonna switch, hold it on this side, and pull it. Okay, so there is my 1 inch radius. So from here to here is 1 inch in length. Okay, now the next part I'd like to do is the body of my cylinder. We know if we cut this and unwrap it, it's going to make a rectangle, right? So that rectangle, I'm just gonna draw, actually I'm gonna use this corner over here. That rectangle that would unfold would definitely have a height of 3 because it's going to have the same as the height of the cylinder. And the length of the body is going to be the circumference of the circles, right? Either that one or this one. Because when you unwrap it, what's wrapped around here is now laying flat out. So the formula for circumference of a circle is pi 3.14 times your diameter, which is going to be 2 inches here. So 3.14 times 2 is going to give us 6.28. So I'm going to draw underneath this circle, I'm going to draw a 6.28 by 3 rectangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure as I draw the top of that rectangle, I just have to make sure the bottom of the circle grazes the length. So I'll show you here. You want it right up against the circle, and we're going to go 6.28. I'm going to make that about 6 1/4. So 6 1/4, that's 6.25, pretty darn close. So let me start here and come over. 6 and 1, 2, 3, 4 would be 6.25. Perfect. See how the circle's just grazing there? And then my height is 3, so I just have to drop down 3 inches here and 3 inches here. So that's what I'm gonna do next. So I'm just gonna line this up with the 3-incher right here and drop. And then I'll do the same thing over here. Put it at 3 inches, drop, and then I can come straight across to make my bottom. Trying to make this as straight as I can. Okay. All right, and then you want to do the bottom of your cylinder, the bottom circle. And again, you want that to just graze. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, it's pretty easy. So if this is a 1 inch radius, right? So from here to here, let me show you here. So this right here, let me zoom in. Oop, 1 second. So this right here, right, from the rectangle to the center of the circle is 1 inch. You see that, right? then I know when I come down here, I'm gonna keep this lined up, okay? Keep that lined up. I wanna go 1 inch beyond that for my center. So let me just make sure they're still lined up. No, I slipped a little bit. So that's lined up. There we go. 1 inch, 1 inch. So if I come out, that means right there is where I want my center. So now I pan back out and I do my other circle with my center there, put my compass on there, and it should line up here that when I twirl, it should graze the rectangle. And it does, okay? And again, it doesn't matter where you line up the circle. As long as your circles, right, are on top of each other, and you see how I did that, I used my ruler to line up their centers so they're in a direct line of each other, and they graze the top and bottom of the rectangle, you're gonna be great. Now watch how cool this is. So we're gonna cut this out, and when you cut it, let me actually go a little bit further here. When you cut it, you're gonna first let me get rid of this excess here that I don't need. Okay, don't need that. So maybe I start cutting here for the rectangle. And then when I start cutting here, you're gonna make sure you stop right at the center of the circle and then pivot your scissors so that you're coming out. You don't want to detach it. You want it to stay all one piece. Start your circle. Okay, start that circle. I'm not going to do the best job here just to move it along. Gotta be really careful here. You don't cut too much and then you, oh, mine's like flimsy. Oh my gosh, I think I almost cut too much. And then cut this. Mine's barely hanging on by a thread here. Cut that. Look, it's barely hanging on, but it's hanging on. And then cut the here. Let's do a little bit better job with this one. I won't cut it so close. And around. If you keep it all one piece, you're gonna have something of a net that looks like this. Ooh, that one is barely hanging on. It's gonna look like that. So then when you go to make your trash can for your campground, by the way, you probably don't wanna see these lines and stuff, so we'll fold it inward. So when you take your body and wrap it, remember this was circumference here. Actually, let me get a piece of tape first. So when you wrap this around, right? You don't want a lot of overlap. Just want to get it so that it's covered there. Tape. You guys are going to do a much better job than me because I have no artistic ability. There we go. And then the top will flop and the bottom will come up. And mine isn't the greatest, but you get the idea. And there's your trash can. Okay. Actually, let me take it out of this. Let me take the phone out of here. And there's your trash can. Of course, you're going to tape it much better, or you're going to glue it. And that's how you do the net of the cylinder. So yeah, so that's how that's going to go. And basically, guys, on the campground project, the cylinder is the only one that you're not going to do on graph paper first. The rectangular prism and the triangular prism, you'll do those on graph paper first. But this one, unless we think it would be easier to do this on graph paper first and then trace it, I'm not sure. I'll have to mess with that and try that. Okay, thanks for watching and happy trails to you.